guys woke now? Okay, good. I'd like to call the meeting to order. The time is now 6:35. Today is Tuesday, April 4th, and this is our April board meeting. And at this time, I'd like to call on Ms. Pilar to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. And at this time, is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Okay, it's moved by Anita. Is there a second?
Second, Dina Ford.
Second by Dina Ford. Any questions? Any amendments?
A, B, and D should be. Should not be, should be A, B, and D, and then C.
No amendments? Okay, all in favor of adopting the agenda as listed?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposes? Seeing that there are none, the agenda is adopted. And at this time, I will go to district highlights, and I will turn the mic over to Dr. V, who will call up Jesse.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll ask Jesse Lavorgna, Director of Communications, to guide us in today's highlights.
Good evening, members of the board. Dr. Vasquez-Matos. There's two awesome highlights. We always have awesome highlights, but this month in particular, I'm proud of the first one. This was supposed to be last month, but it is this month. I'm going to invite Ms. Meg Scotta to the podium. There she is, right here. And as the board may remember, in the beginning of the school year, over the summer, we started a social media campaign to build a more kind of human side of the Board of Education. And it was specifically called, and this is a social media campaign, called Faces of Middletown Public Schools, where there were a series of employees who work in central office, and they had their picture taken. We put their picture up on social media, and I gave them a little bio as well, just to kind of humanize the individuals who work in that building. The goal is to spread it out through the district. I'm just lacking people who want their picture taken. But hopefully we'll get there. Anyhow, the campaign won an award from CABE, and that's
Yes, you did.
so.
Yes, you got a blue ribbon. And so I was supposed to come last month, and I didn't, but I am here tonight to present you with a plaque. It is the Bonnie B. Carney Award of Excellence for Educational Communications, and by far this was a great idea. It was, and I did look at it during the convention, and I also, and I also did look at it again this week before the presentation, calling attention to employees and teachers and kids in the district. It connects people in a different way, and being able to use social media was very clever. The criteria for this award is clarity of message, image, and consistency, and also the specific guidelines of readability, editing, graphics, type, format, presentation, design, and the value of what you are doing. And it was an award winner. It actually got the blue ribbon at the convention, and now I'm happy to present this award, which we've been presenting since about 1975. And so it's nothing new, and obviously in 1975 a lot of it was written, and now we're on technology and using technology in a new and better way. So I'm going to leave this with you, and thank you for the privilege, and thank you. Job well done, thank you. And calling attention to people that work in the district. I know the invisible employees.
Yeah.
they're there, and it's good to do that. So thank you. I am also on the Board of Education in Portland. I just came from McDonough, where I'm the site director for Kids Corner before and after school programs, and I left the kindergarten registration going on to come over, and I'm going to my board meeting now. And so thank you for inviting me. I'd love to stay and listen to what's going on in Middletown schools, but I'm going to bid you adieu, and off I go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you. Okay, our second highlight, and I hope that we can get the video up for this one, is that I'm going to read you a little bit of the press release that went out regarding this one. And if Ms. Alicia De Jesus will join me up here. The District of Middletown Public Schools is proud to announce that Ms. Alicia De Jesus, the district's Director of Athletics, and a much longer title after that as well, but we'll keep it at that, is the recipient of the 2023 National Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association, or NIAAA? Okay. State Award of Merit. Ms. De Jesus, who also serves as the district's Director of Student Activities and Director of Physical Education and Health, is the district's first ever recipient of this award. According to the NIAAA website, the State Award of Merit may be selected and presented annually in each state. It is an award presented, oh no, this was the, yeah, sorry. It is an award presented by the state to an NIAAA member who has demonstrated outstanding leadership, meritorious service, and achievement in the vocation of interscholastic administration. I will read you the quote that Dr. Brooks stated with regard to Ms. De Jesus. Ms. De Jesus is a dedicated leader with a student-centered purpose. She advocates tirelessly for our student athletes and is passionate about providing the best experience possible for them. Her unwavering commitment to creating a positive environment sets a strong foundation for our student athletes to find success, even beyond their high school experience. The Blue Dragon community is truly appreciative of her outstanding service and leadership. So there is a beautiful video that we're going to show that has to do with this award. And then I'll let Ms. De Jesus say some words.
Graduating from East Hartford High in 1999, Alicia De Jesus was a standout basketball player. She held the all-time leading scoring record for boys and girls for 24 years. Alicia went on to play at Division I Marist College on a full scholarship. After graduating in 2003, Alicia continued her basketball career by playing professionally in Puerto Rico.
You know, I had a lot of experiences growing up where my parents gave me opportunities to watch women's basketball at a very young age. You know, when we could go into Gamble and sit right on the front seat and watch Carrie Bascom and Tracy List for Providence, and that was something that was empowering for me to see women at that level.
Alicia received her master's degree in physical education from Central Connecticut State University and began teaching at the Morristown Central School in New York in 2006. Alicia returned to Connecticut in 2011 as the interim Dean of Students at Martin Luther King School. She was named Dean of Students at the Sand School before being named the Director of Athletics, Student Activities, and Physical Education and Health at Middletown Public Schools in 2014.
It's been a dream of mine to be an administrator and follow in my father's footsteps. You know, he started off as a PE teacher in Hartford, and then he became an assistant principal and a principal, and you know, I use what they instilled in me at a young age as far as work ethic and working hard, and knowing that what I saw when they came home and impacting lives the way that they did as far as their students, I wanted to do that. And I have a passion for education and a passion for coaching and a passion for growing and learning.
Alicia sits on the board of directors of the National Organization for Minority Athletic Directors.
Super excited to be on that board, and our mission is you know, supporting, mentoring, providing resources to underrepresented athletic directors, athletic administrators across the country. So it just, my passion for that just continued to grow.
She is also a member of the NIAAA Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee.
and I feel like I have a voice, and I know that my perspective as a Hispanic woman is going to be heard. And I am confident about that, and because of these organizations that I'm a part of, because of all the learning that I am doing and the people that I'm working alongside, I feel that my voice is going to be heard, and ultimately that trickles down to our students and how they feel, and providing inclusive spaces for them and making sure they have a voice.
Alicia credits her parents for influencing her determination, work ethic, and passion for education. Their combined 70 years in education, serving the Hartford Public Schools, as well as her brother Fred and fiancée Jess's commitment as school administrators, inspire Alicia every day.
You know, when I first came on, our athletic activity secretary, Robin Wilson, she's been there since I've been there, and we've laughed together, we've cried together. So just a big shout out to her and being a person of support. I think just the Middletown community in itself and our administration, from central office staff to our high school and middle school administration, Colleen Weiner, Dr. Dawn Brooks, have been amazing. I want to thank our coaching staff. I have to thank my partner in my life, my fiancée, Jess Zangi. Having that support is truly amazing. She's a gem, and I'm lucky to have her in my life. And then my family. Our family conversations are always go back to education and what we're going through. My brother, so his support, his love, and just being there at all times has been something that has been wonderful for me. And then my two parents, my mom and my dad, Carmen and Fred. Their support now, they're always asking how things are going. Their unconditional love and all of their support for what we've been doing at Middletown has been something that I am very, very lucky to have.
Thank you, Jesse. Good evening, Madam Chair, Dr. Vasquez-Matos, Board of Ed members, and Middletown community. I'm extremely honored and humbled to receive this award with so many deserving athletic administrators across the state. I do want you all to know how proud and grateful I am to be able to represent Middletown Public Schools in this way. There's a lot that goes into this position, just athletic administration in general. And, this award isn't just a recognition for me, it's a recognition for all of Middletown and our Middletown community because of the support along the way from so many individuals. We are very lucky to work alongside, coaches, advisors, administrators, families, and students that are amazing human beings. I want to thank Jesse and Mike for providing the video that CAD, the Connecticut Athletic Administrators Association, was able to put together for the banquet a couple weeks ago. And truly just thank you for providing me the opportunity to be up here and for highlighting our athletic department and us here in Middletown. So thank you so much.
And that concludes the district
Congratulations.
highlights.
I'm sorry. Congratulations. Okay, and at this time, I'd like to move on to the next part of the agenda, which is public session. For all of you that come to the floor for public session, you have 3 minutes. Please explain your name and your address. Please refrain from using any identifiers, and you may come to the podium. Public session is open at this time.
Oh, okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Steve McKeever. I live at 724 Glastonbury Turnpike in Portland. Before I go in and say what I want to say, I want to give a extended gratitude towards Chairwoman Kane, Dr. Vasquez Matos, Assistant Superintendent McCann, and Assistant Superintendent Kanata, all four of whom came to Beaman yesterday, and we had a long 2.5 hour conversation about concerns that are happening here. They changed their schedules. I know Ms. Kane had to make some adjustments in her work schedule to come in. So I do appreciate that, and thank you very much. It was well received today. Some of the things that were brought up, I wanted to bring up to you tonight. At the February 14th Board of Ed meeting, data was presented regarding student referrals. Most of the focus was on Beaman and MHS. And these conversations are never fun, and they're always very concerning, but they are necessary. Yet when the data was presented, no one on the board asked what was going on. The message that came back to us, that came forward, was that our staff does not relate to students, nor do we try to relate. Not only were those comments short-sighted and disrespectful, they were insulting and very hurtful. I wanted to point out a few numbers that were glossed over in that presentation. 100 students were responsible for all those referrals. And of those 100 students, 39 students are responsible for multiple referrals. This means that less than 5% of our students in this building are really struggling to cope. Not that our staff are not working to educate and relate and do everything in their power to ensure that every child succeeds. Instead of pointing and focusing on this subgroup or that subgroup, we need to come together as a community. And these are our children, not yours, not mine, all of ours. A community of people in Middletown that we share a common goal, and that goal is to build systems that our children can succeed. You've all heard the phrase, and we all say it. We're trying to prepare our students for college and career. But I never hear anyone say we need to prepare them for society, to be socially responsible and contribute to society in a positive way. This means we need to teach how to expect respect, and to give respect and to receive the respect, how to behave verbally and physically in social environments. If we do not do this, who will? Can I have a half a paragraph and I'll be done?
You want to finish it? Go
Okay,
ahead.
thank you.
Yeah.
Janice Pollack, Brookview Lane, Middletown. This means that we need to teach how to expect respect, to give respect and receive respect, how to behave verbally and physically in social environments. If we do not do this, who will? If we don't start now, when are we going to? We need your support to send a message to the community that Middletown does not support abusive language or abusive actions. We need support in developing programs for students who are struggling socially, emotionally, and academically. We have great schools and great academic programs. We also need to focus with the same intensity on developing programs for most vulnerable students as well. It is not a pretty conversation and one that many people in academia and politics will shy away from, but we need to have it for the sake of all of our students. And I know that also too, people are kind of tired of hearing about COVID, but we are still suffering from isolation issues. There are children that were out for the whole year or just for 2 years. We are still struggling as a community, not just our kids, but our parents. Our parents had to parent differently. They needed to help their students differently. We changed things when they came back. We gave grace, and maybe we shouldn't have given as much grace as we did. Maybe that was where we went wrong. We need to look back at what we did and try to keep moving forward. We've been working really hard with Dr. V and with Assistant Superintendent McCann and Assistant Superintendent Kanata. And we need you to know that we have been working really hard, and we are trying our best, and we have made so many changes and so many improvements in just 1 year. 1 year, there's been a huge difference in our schools and in our central office. And we need you to know that we appreciate the work and the people that have come on and have helped us, and we need you to know that we need your support.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Come on. Turn the mic on.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hello, my name is Nicole McGillicuddy, and I've been teaching in Middletown for 27 years.
Hold on one second. Your address.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can I say Beeman's address? Or want the proper one?
Go ahead. I will understand that.
1 Wilderman's Way, Middletown, Connecticut, Beeman Middle School.
Okay, good.
I teach 6th grade language arts at Beeman. When I was hired 27 years ago, Middletown Public Schools was at the forefront of educational excellence. They were the model district for all Connecticut towns. 27 years later, Middletown Public Schools is not in a good place. I serve on the Board of Ed in my hometown, and I know that the most important stakeholders in education are the teachers. They are the ones that make connections with kids and their families, and they are also the ones that have the most pride in their schools. Whenever I want to fix a problem in education as a Board of Ed member, I go directly to the teachers for their opinion on things, because they always have the most accurate information and creative ways to solve problems. If you want to begin repairing the bond between central office and teachers, you can begin by reopening the contract and giving us a salary that meets the cost of living for next year. It is appalling that you approved a 1.3% cost of living increase in an economy with an 8% cost of living. That vote was not unanimous between the staff because many of the veteran teachers knew that post-pandemic inflation would hit, and it did. My paycheck is $30 less than last year because of an increase in health care, and I am a single parent of 2 boys. Married people and people with partners can afford the cost of living with 2 incomes, but single people are struggling. It has gotten to the point where many of us need a second job to make ends meet, and yet you've hired multiple directors making 6 figures that I am sure do not deal with the disrespect that I deal with on a daily basis. You've indicated that you would like to help. Please open the teacher contract and pay us more. We cannot live another 2 years on this salary. This is the reason why teachers are looking for other professions outside of the educational world. This is the reason you have a shortage in teachers, or teachers that make sure to take all of their sick days. What incentive do they have to come to work? In Middletown, the teachers do not have trust in the Board of Ed or central office to make things right. But I hope to God you can prove me wrong. My room number is C105. I'm in the orange pod on the bottom floor, and I invite you to come in and talk to me anytime. Maybe together we can restore Middletown to its former glory before I retire. Lastly, before I conclude, I would like to recognize Mr. Byron for continuously trying to make Beeman a better place for both teachers and students. Our hope is that he is supported in his efforts by central office and the Board of Education, because without him, many teachers would probably be looking for another position outside of this district. Thank you.
Any other comments? Okay, if you have any comments, can you just line up down here so we can get to them? Yeah, try to keep it moving. All right.
Board of Ed members, is this on?
Yeah, it's on.
Okay. My name is Jane Carluccio. I live at 103 Marvin Road, Colchester, and teach at Beeman. I've been a teacher in Middletown for 29 years, and I've been proud to be a Middletown teacher. We always had the latest and greatest of everything. There wasn't anything too expensive or too new that wasn't tried in order to help all students be successful. At February's board meeting, data was presented for MHS and Beeman. As you could see from the data, Beeman is having a difficult time with behavior. Yes, there are many behavioral and SEL interventions in place here at Beeman, but they are not working. Approximately 5% of our student population makes up the majority of referrals in our school. For many of those students, this building is not the least restrictive environment. They cannot handle many academic classes when they are exhibiting behaviors that are detrimental to the school environment. They cannot focus on the academics when they need behavioral interventions the classroom teacher cannot possibly provide in the context of an academic class. At the February board meeting, it was asked why teachers are leaving Middletown. I can speak to Beeman, and reasons are not necessarily higher pay or being closer to home, but the toll the behavior has taken on people. I am retiring this year, 6 years early. The environment here is so stressful, it is impossible not to take it home. The verbal abuse towards adults and other children is beyond tolerable. I just can't continue in this environment. Please excuse my reference to inappropriate language and know that it is not my choice of words, but the language of the children in our school community. During the course of a day, if I walk through the hallways and try to redirect students to their classes, I am told to mind my own effing business, or don't effing worry about me. I'm not in your class, or I am completely ignored, or they run in the opposite direction. In my classroom, there are days I waste a good deal of instructional time notifying the office of students missing from my class. They might have never showed up, or possibly asked to use the bathroom or get a drink of water, and then didn't return. When students do finally arrive, and I inquire as to where they have been, or if they have a pass, I get responses such as, "I hate when you all ask where I have been. It's really none of your effing business." And then turn around and leave again with a comment such as, "This is why I can't effing stand this place. Everyone is in my business." The disrespect is unimaginable. It is not unusual in the course of a day for me to be called the B word, or be told to F off, or be disrespected in various other ways as well. These constant disruptions reduce instructional time and seriously impact the learning of others. Unfortunately, these behaviors are contagious. Students who have not acted out see students who act out with little consequence, and then realize they can act that way. Up until this point, Beeman students have had the liberty to decide during the day what they will or will not do. And the behaviors are seriously impacting the learning, safety, and well-being of all. Thank you very much.
Good evening, Dr. Vasquez-Matos, Madam Chair, Deb Kane, board members. I'm John Geary, 753 Laurel Grove Road, Middletown, although many people insist my address is 1 Wilderman's Way. For those of you that do not know me, that's very possible because I'm new to the district. I was hired in August of 1976. I've been here teaching American history to middle school students, advising student council, and coaching basketball for a mere 46 years. Some of you on the board and at central office, I'm still waiting for your final copy of your research paper. That's why I've not yet retired. Okay? I'm saddened to be addressing you this evening. Beeman Middle School is in crisis. We're looking for the help of the Board of Education, central office, parents, and families of the district. You've heard the anguish from my colleagues, their frustration, and their fears. Never before in my career have I had so many staff members come into my room, close the door, and openly cry for the way they're being treated throughout the school day. We have lost so many quality educators, and more will leave by the end of the year. Or the students and family members expressing their fears about what is going on in our school. Students writing notes to staff members, apologizing for the conduct of their peers and the feeling of helplessness to change it. Every day when I enter our building, I take a moment to pause and look at our top 3 pillars of success: respect, community, kindness, and shudder at how our district could possibly abandon the legacy of this remarkable Beeman family that bears its name. As I tell my students every day, we are better than this. When I hear respected members of the community pursuing another course to educate our Middletown youth, and thus to abandon Beeman, this district needs to see this as a challenge. What elements are we lacking? And pledge to compete. Unlocking the potential in all students cannot be a slogan on the wall. Together it must be the reality or we all fail. This current Beeman family, teachers, staff, students, and families need heroes right now. You don't need a superhero cape to swoop to our rescue. Now is the hour. Come spend time at our school. Experience what we are experiencing. Lock arms with us. We are in this together. Today is crucial to guarantee our future success. Our challenge is to let our legacy of 2023 be that new Beeman beacon of light for future generations. The time is now. Thank you.
Any additional comments? Any additional comments for public session?
Hi there.
Hello.
Christine Gastrom, 27 Catherine Street, Middletown.
Okay.
So I already sent an email today that every one of you got and most of you responded to. So I don't really feel like I need to reread that. I'm just getting up because I actually just want the teachers to know that the parents are behind them and are asking for the same things for them and for our kids. And I'm hearing this, and though I've been hearing it all year, it's still shocking. And I have this feeling that we need actually to kind of have an intervention as a community and not just kind of fold this into some more like therapy or whatever that we're doing. We've got to just full stop and check what the heck, you know? So I am giving up on the prepared speech. It's echoing everything that's been said, and you all know the morale issues at the school. I don't know. I don't have an answer, like a recommendation of what should be done. I think we should listen to the teachers, though. Whatever they're saying, we should just do that. They deserve more pay. They deserve for us to lock arms with them, and we want to. So, for what that's worth. I think that's all my comments.
Thank you. Any additional comments? Any additional comments? Any additional comments? Public session is closed. Okay, at this time, we'll be moving forward with our communication portion of the agenda. And at this time, we'll call on Pilar Brooks for our student rep report.
Hello, Hello again, everyone. I'd like to thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, along with Dr. Vasquez Matos, for the opportunity to represent the student body at MHS once again. And I also want to thank Nana Obeng for filling in for me for these past 2 months. My name is Pilar Brooks, and I am proud and ready to present to you for the class, on behalf of the class of 2023. To start, I'm glad to say that we're turning our last chapter of the year into quarter 4. And on the academic side, we've had an amazing turnout for the SATs on the juniors' behalf. And I want to say great job to all of them who showed up. We also have freshman success coming up, and it's just to celebrate all of our freshmen for their hard work they've done this year. Our April break starts this Friday, starting from the 7th to the 14th, and I hope everyone has a relaxing and worry-free break. And one last reminder that senior dues have been due since March 31st, and dues will still be accepted through Ms. P, but we should get them in quickly. On our recreational side, we have had a great turnout for the Little Shop of Horrors play. DECA will be returning to ICDC per usual, which is just a further competition to explore their excellence. Our robotics team has climbed to the top and made it to Worlds. Blue Tube has just returned from camera productions out in California, and our spring sports season has returned. Another reminder, if you are interested in supporting any of our activities or sports teams, please check out our website at the Middletown Public Schools website and under MHS. And then a reminder for students and staff, there is a PD coming up around April 20th. I don't know the exact day. But students will have an early release at around 11. That's all for MHS events. Thank you everyone again for having me, and I hope everyone has a good night.
Thank you, Pilar. Any questions for our student rep? Okay, thank you. All right, we'll move to our consent agenda items. At this time, we have items A through J. Would anyone like to remove anything from the consent agenda items? No? Okay, and at this time, I'd like to make a motion to accept items A through J of our consent agenda items. Is there a second? Okay, so second by Anita Dempsey White. Any questions? All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposes? Seeing that there are none, the motion is carried. The next item on the agenda is our department reports, and we'll start with our financial report with Eduardo Miranda. Oh.
Good evening, Board, Madam Chair, Dr. V, Superintendent Dr. Vasquez Montos. This is my first one. I'm excited. So the report, here we go. We'll start with the financial statements for March 2023. No major changes. We are seeing a surplus of $593,000, as we've been seeing the last few months. Mostly is due to vacancies throughout the district, it's across the nation, actually. And another thing that's playing into factor is warmer than normal weather, so that's a good cause. We'll continue to watch that. We have sent out communications to all departments to encumber your final purchase recs, so they have till April 17th. We'll look those over, kind of really begin to close the books and get a better understanding of what June 30th looks like for fiscal year 23. The line item transfers, there was a lot this time around. I think it's because the email we sent out to transfer any funds. I don't know do I need to read each one of them, or should I just transfer the total amount and give an explanation roughly what the reasons for the transfer?
No, just give us a kind of grand total of things for the month.
So just to give everyone a heads up, usually around this time of the year, just like any other district, a lot of transfers are happening from one line item to the next, most likely instructional supplies to another line item to cover supplies, purchase whatever needs to be done. For us in accounting and finance, it's a lot cleaner. So when we do close the books, begin to audit, it just looks a lot cleaner that way. So this past month, we had a total transfer of $42,214.21.
I just have one question. I see a reference to Woodrow Wilson Middle School for $10,518. I saw that in the budget booklet. I don't know if you have Woodrow Wilson still lingering and you guys are looking to clean that up, or?
It was the first thing I did this morning with the help of Cassie. Okay. She helped us out. It's just the system, financial system we use. We had to go in there and just change the title, the location. Okay. So.
All right, I see that. I didn't see anything that was alarming. I do know around April is when we start to see a lot of shifting in our line items, and so I can see that that's what's happening at this time. Okay. Any questions for anyone for Finance Department in regards to the finance report? Okay. Is there a motion to accept the line item transfers?
So moved.
So moved by Justin. Is there a second?
Second, Deborah Gus.
Okay, a second by Deborah Gus. Any questions? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposes? Seeing that there are none, the motion is carried. The line items are accepted. Thank you.
Thank you.
Not too bad for your first time. All right. So what I'm going to do, I am going to call the departments. I'm going to see if anybody has any questions and move swiftly through the department reports. Do we have any questions for the facilities department? Okay. Kevin, you're all set tonight. You got your suit on and everything. I should have called you up. Oh, well, yeah, we'll do that for the action night. Okay. All right. So we'll hear from you later on. So personnel report. Any questions for personnel? Okay. Any questions? You're all set for today. Any questions for transportation? Okay, we're all set. All right, so at this time, we'll move on to the superintendent's report, and I will call with Dr. Vasquez-Matos for his report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And thank you, community members and staff. Tonight, I just want to kind of highlight some of the work that has been talked about in several weeks around attendance, chronic absenteeism, and increasing attendance. And what we're doing to address it here in Middletown Public Schools. In our continuing efforts to increase our community knowledge of this critical issue, we're sharing an overview of the problem, how we are addressing it, and the areas that we continue to grow in. For this presentation, I'm joined by a few of my fellow colleagues of the district attendance team. Bastiano Spalding, Jesse Lavarnia, Brooke Carter, Michael Scott is also part of the attendance team. Candace Cannon, our 504 coordinator social worker, is also as part of the attendance team.
So a little bit about why we have a district attendance review team. On July 7th, 2015, Governor Malloy signed Public Act 15225, an act concerning chronic absence. Stated in subsection 2B1 of this Public Act is the following: each local and regional Board of Education that A, has a district chronic absenteeism rate of 10% or higher shall establish an attendance review team for the school district. The district review team brings together district-level administrators to address chronic absence across the entire district. So some definitions before going on. Within Public Act 15225, two really important students, I guess, for this presentation are defined, and that's chronically absent student who is missing 10% or greater of the total number of days enrolled during the school year for any reason. That includes excused, unexcused, out-of-school suspensions, in-school suspensions, and last more than 1/2 of the school day. So we'll get more into that 10% in a little bit. A truant student is a student who has 4 unexcused absences in a month, period of time, not specific months named in a calendar year, or 10 unexcused absences in a school year.
So tonight we'll begin our presentation with a short math lesson. Nationally, the accepted definition of chronic absenteeism is a student who has missed 10% or more of school days for any reason, excused, unexcused, out-of-school suspensions, and in-school suspensions that last more than 1/2 of the school day. Chronic absenteeism is often confused with truancy. However, truancy only looks at unexcused absences. It is important to note that reducing chronic absenteeism is everyone's responsibility. If a student has multiple years of chronic absences in elementary school, there is a higher probability of chronic absence in the 6th grade. This means it is imperative that we all work together collectively, both school and home, to address absence as early as possible. Thank you. As of today, April 4th, 2023, Middletown Public School students have had 138 total days in the 22-23 school year. So a student who is considered chronically absent has missed 13.8 or more days in the 22-23 school year. A student who is considered chronically absent has missed, I'm going to repeat my numbers, 13.8 plus days or more of school so far. The good news is that chronic absence is a solvable problem. But knowing what will do the trick requires understanding what leads to a student not coming to school. When it comes to attendance, no one should make an assumption. It is also important to take the time to find out why a student or students are missing school.
So what might chronic absenteeism look like? Before we go on to the next slides, I just want to share some things. So it's commonly believed that absences are only a problem if they're unexcused. That missing 2 days per month, it doesn't affect learning. And it's quite often that people lose track or underestimate the total number of absences that they or their child may have. Sporadic absences are believed to not be a problem. Attendance only matters in the older grades is also something that's commonly believed. And suspensions don't count as absences. We know that all of these things are false. And so I want to introduce you to Josie Diggins. Josie is our make-believe kindergartner. She does not exist in the school district, although she is super cute. So Josie began school on August 31st, this school year. She was super excited. And then Josie got COVID, Labor Day weekend. Bummer. She was out for 4 days. And she, just so that we're clear, she had it Friday evening, and then she stayed out the requisite number of days. But those were all excused. And then the half day before Thanksgiving, her parents decided to not have her go to school and use the day as a travel day to go to her out-of-state grandparents' house. After all, she's just in kindergarten. What's a half day? Same thing with December. They decided that half day prior to winter break was not worth it. Then in January, poor little Josie got the flu, so she was out for another week. Thankfully, this kiddo got sick after long weekends, so she's missing at least one less day. Then in February, Josie's parents had the opportunity to go on vacation, and her grandparents were going to watch her for the whole week, so they said yes. And Josie missed 2 more days of school. But mind you, her parents wrote notes for all of these, so technically they're excused up until 9 absences. In March, this was Josie's 6th birthday, and Mom decided to keep her out for the entire day after her annual checkup in the morning, because that was fun. And then yesterday, Josie was out because she had some random stomach bug. Interestingly enough, this is my daughter. Let's go back. So counting them all up, Josie has missed 14 days of school so far this school year. Now going back to what my colleague Vassiana has said, 13.8 makes a child chronically absent. This kindergartner is chronically absent at this time. If she does not miss a single day more of school for the entire school year, she will no longer be chronically absent, because at the end we'll have 180 or 181 days. I'm not sure which is the school year. 82. Or 182. But so if she stays at 14 and not 18, doesn't rise to 18, she won't be chronically absent. However, if she misses 4 more days, which is quite likely, she's going to be chronically absent. And this is a kindergartner. So we ask the question, but she's only in kindergarten, so does this really matter? Well, students who are chronically absent in kindergarten and 1st grade are much less likely to read at grade level by 3rd grade. And we know this matters because students who can't read at grade level by the end of 3rd grade are 4 times more likely than proficient readers to not graduate from high school. This is all the younger years. And then students who are chronically absent in any 2 years between 8th and 12th grade have a 50% chance, 50% of not finishing high school. So, does this really matter? It does.
So, chronic absenteeism is a nationwide problem, not just in Middletown. Nonetheless, we acknowledge that the problem is in Middletown, and this is what we're doing to address it. Nationwide, as many as 10 to 15% of students, which is 7.5 million, miss nearly a month of school every school year. That's 135 million days of lost time in the classroom. In some cities, as many as 1 in 4 students are missing that much school. As stated in the previous slide, chronic absenteeism is a red alert that students are headed for academic trouble and eventually dropping out of high school. Poor attendance isn't just a problem in high school. It can start as early as kindergarten and pre-kindergarten. Nonetheless, we acknowledge that the problem is in Middletown, and this is what we're doing to address it thus far. 31.3% was Middletown's chronic absenteeism rate as of the 138th day last school year. So on 4/22/22, or absenteeism rate or chronic absenteeism rate was 31.3%. When compared to the previous rate on the 138th day of school, April 22, 2022, our chronic absenteeism rate was 31.3%, which breaks down to 1,340 students district-wide as of last school year. Currently, as of today, our chronic absenteeism rate is 26.4%. This breaks down to 1,100 students. At this point in the school year, the improvement of 5% in chronic absenteeism rate means that 250 more students have improved attendance in comparison to last school year. If trends follow last year's pattern, this will likely improve by another 3%. With improvements in attendance strategies, we are hopeful in seeing an even larger improvement. We have implemented strategies for building a culture of attendance and identifying barriers. First, we're recognizing good and improved attendance in our schools. We're engaging students and parents. We're monitoring attendance data and practices both at the district and the school level. We're providing personalized early outreach. And we're developing programmatic responses to barriers as needed. So during the school year, we have created new protocols, procedures around attendance management, such as district attendance manual. We have created attendance team data agendas, and we've done recognitions and celebrations. We've restructured existing protocols and procedures for attendance management, such as school attendance teams, partnership with the Juvenile Probation Office, and we've reimagined our home visitors role to the Family Engagement Liaison role. We've also introduced new tools and positions that assist with attendance management, such as scholarship at the secondary level, whereas the bus app, student engagement specialist at the secondary levels as well. We've also created a district attendance manual. We've created restructured school attendance teams. We've created an attendance agenda template for all schools to utilize. We're offering supports once the root cause of the absences have been identified. We're having more family engagement opportunities outside of school hours with the support of SEL interventionists and family engagement liaisons. We're doing home visits with family engagement liaisons or student engagement specialists or social workers and our school counselors. We've also partnered with the Juvenile Probation Office, as I mentioned before, to discuss our disengaged students at risk and what supports are in place. We're raising awareness around attendance. We're utilizing parent-teacher conferences to discuss attendance and improved attendance. We're recognizing improved attendance and celebrating the small victories. Personalized positive communication to families, and we're making connections to caring adults in the buildings, and we're offering mentorship as well. We've added student engagement specialists, again at the secondary level, and we've restructured the vision of what used to be the MCELI home visitors, and now we're calling them family engagement liaisons, who we're utilizing them as support system in a tiered approach to supporting students who are chronically absent. And also we have Brooke Carter, who's going to share what we're doing at the school level.
Thank you. I'm going to talk a little bit about what it looks like offering supports, raising awareness around attendance, recognizing improved attendance, and making connections. So we'll start with raising awareness. So attendance and battling chronic absenteeism is a all-hands-on-deck issue. It starts from making sure that the community, including like boards of education, doctors, teachers, parents, students, all understand how important attendance is. We start off the year making sure that we're educating all of our staff and our teachers on the policies and protocols. And also, for example, we'll have our kindergarten information night, and we will talk about the importance of attendance there with the parents, and encourage them, if you have to make a doctor's appointment, to try to do it earlier in the day. Later in the day, you can take your child out for an hour, bring them back, to really encourage them being in school for as much time as possible. We also, as a staff, work with our families and try to build relationships. And that means everyone in the school, from your secretary, your principal, your teachers, your paras. Maybe some families feel more comfortable talking to a para. Someone might be more comfortable with the child's teacher. So we really try to work with our families and encourage them and educate them on our policies. For recognizing student achievements, some of the things that the schools have done are school-wide competitions, which are really done with like classroom to classroom and a percentage base, so it's not singling out specific students. Some schools have done like a March Madness attendance competition, like brackets. That was very popular. And then, oh, sorry. Okay. And then also too, just proactive communication, which I think in the next slide you'll see something that we will be piloting, which will allow for more real-time proactive communication to parents.
So for the remainder of this year, we're expanding, continuing, and piloting. We're expanding our knowledge of best practices and networks, such as participating, so the district team participates in bi-weekly Talk Tuesday sessions with the Connecticut State Department of Education. We're continuing to deepen our practices and spreading information, such as supporting our school-based attendance teams with the implementation of the attendance manual. And then we're piloting programs and positions that support improved student attendance, such as we've started the scholarship at the secondary level, we've rolled out the Where's the Bus app, and utilizing our student engagement specialists in our districts. We're continuing to increase our knowledge. We're continuing to grow in our practices around how school-based attendance teams are implemented with fidelity. So we're using our manual as our guide. And we're also restructuring our MTSS model. We're piloting the Kinvo app at Farm Hill, Beeman, and MHS for the remainder of the 22-23 school year. And then I want to highlight what the objectives are for Talk Tuesday. I attend bi-weekly every Tuesday myself and Candice. We stay up to date on state policies, practices, and events and issues. We share successes and lessons learned. We troubleshoot common concerns, and we provide support as a collective group across Connecticut. MTSS is an area we need to improve, So we're restructuring our current MTSS guide, collecting data, and following the process with fidelity. And then we're going to show you a quick video on Kinvo. But Kinvo helps school systems build positive, two-way relationships between school and home via automated, translated text messaging-based nudges, and provides attendance and engagement data to school and district administrators to inform real-time interventions.
So while our colleague, Mike Scott, gets the video. Oh, I do have to change the slide. That would help. All right. Other than that, it's been proven, and I believe this video speaks to this, that text messaging is incredibly effective when getting, when sharing attendance information and getting kids to school. So I'll let the video speak for itself. Do I also hit the next? No. Okay.
Top K-12 leaders recognize that all academic success starts with students showing up to class, whether in-person, virtual, or hybrid learning environments. After all, the best curriculum paired with the best teacher and resources aren't worth anything if the student isn't in school to benefit from them. Hence, the growing popularity of Kinvolve's Expert Professional Learning and Kinvo, a research-based K-12 attendance management and communication software in a class of its own. Instead of treating the symptoms of absenteeism like most attendance tools, Kinvo addresses the root problems head-on to prevent absenteeism before it's ever an issue. Every student has a unique life, and a wide array of situations can cause absenteeism. These can include parent work schedules, homelessness, bullying, illness, and more. All of these challenges can be mitigated by addressing 4 critical components, including 1, accurate student and family contact information, 2, the ability to reach all families regardless of internet access, device, language, or housing location, 3, accurate and actionable attendance data, and 4, strong school-home relationships. What makes Kinvo so unique and effective is that it is specially designed to support all 4 of these components and create seamless workflows that save your district time, money, and resources, all while improving student outcomes. Here's how it works. Let's say that Rooney is absent. Kinvo can send automated, personalized messages to up to 10 of his family contacts. After the message is sent, Kinvo will instantly tell you which of the family contact numbers are accurate and received the message, as well as which ones aren't working. With this information, you can work with Rooney's family members, teachers, and community to gain updated contact information for those not working. With updated contact information in hand, Kinvo empowers you to form deep relationships with families. Whenever you send a message, it is instantly translated into the family member's preferred language. They receive it just like a text message, no app, login, or internet access required, and can write back instantly. This process removes language barriers and empowers you to talk with any family in real time. Every conversation is then securely archived with administrative oversight so that you have complete transparency into the conversations happening around your district. Additionally, Kinvo's powerful attendance suite makes it easy to identify red flags and identify students by a variety of criteria, including number of consecutive days absent, total of number of days missed, percentage of days missed, attendance tiers, and more. No K-12 leader or educator has time for yet another software, which is why every Kinvo feature has been meticulously researched, purposefully created, and rigorously field tested to ensure Kinvo is an essential daily tool for everyone who implements it. If you're not yet ready to adopt Kinvo, our expert team works with district leadership to develop custom, research-based professional learning content, including live, credit-bearing professional development sessions, video libraries, district-wide strategy, social media campaigns, and more. By using Kinvo and Kinvolve's professional learning, Meriden Public Schools reduced chronic absenteeism for English learners by 22%, and our partner schools in New York City reduced chronic absenteeism for all students by 7.52% compared to all New York City DOE schools. If you're ready to improve family engagement and student attendance, whether in person or remote, visit our website at www.kinvolve.com to learn more.
Okay, so now we'll talk about what we are doing in the coming months and years. So we will inform, support, and grow. All within our community will learn about the importance of daily student attendance, and we will be kicking off our attendance awareness campaign for the 23-24 school year, which is Showing Up Together. We are going to restructure the MTSS, the multi-tiered system of supports, restructure attendance meetings so they're happening more frequently on a weekly basis, roll out district and school-based attendance challenges, We will be doing the LEAP 101 training on the LEAP approach to engaging families and improving student attendance, which is Learner Engagement and Attendance Program. And members of the District Attendance Committee are attending the Attendance Awareness Campaign 2023 webinars, which is 4 webinars offered by Attendance Works to help roll out the 2023-24 campaign.
Just to draw your attention to the last section there under GROW, the LEAP program, Learner Engagement and Attendance Program. I don't know if everyone has heard, but this program has been recognized by the Federal Department of Education as a excellent practice, and it all originated here in Connecticut. So we're going to be partaking in that. And that concludes our presentation. We did not go into the data because we have a chronic absenteeism issue. We know that. We focused on what we're doing, what we need to do, and what we will be doing, but we do have slides of data if you'd like to go into them.
I also want to add, I failed to mention, there are 2 other members of the district attendance team, which is Dr. Brooks for the high school level, as well as our truancy officer, Brian McGrath.
Any questions from the board? I think I have a couple of questions. So with this, I like to see that you guys are, reaching out to families and everything. What are we doing about students that attend school but are not going to class? How are we addressing that?
So that's a great question. That's why we have representations from all levels of our district. And so scholarship, one of the things that scholarships, the capability is also capturing classroom attendance. Not only do students scan into school and mark them as present, we are also rolling it out at the classroom as well as other areas like the health center, to making sure that we know where students are at during the building. And so that is part of the program for scholarship.
In addition to that, when a child, they're children until they're 18. So when a child taps into, using scholarship, taps into their classroom, because it pairs with Power School and also with Kinvo that you just saw the video about, pairs with Power School, a parent can get a text message that says your child has checked into history class or your child is absent from history class. So it's just, again, kind of involving all parties around the child to support them in going to class. And that's just one feature. And it's also just one tool that it takes all of us to get kids to school. So, but that's one of them.
So with the scholarship, the student goes into the class and they mark themselves present, or I missed that part.
So it's so it's an attendance management system, but it's that right now at Beeman and MHS, students are what scholarship calls it are tapping in, and so right now they're just tapping into the school building. They have a normal ID. It looks just like this, just as we all tap into our buildings. Like it says it welcomes them into school. So.
What about now for class, which is
we're going to get to the point where we're expanding to
point.
classes.
So so until that's fully implemented, how are we making our, let me make sure I say this politically correct, how are we ensuring that our teachers are marking our students present or absent or whatever throughout the day? Because I think that was a problem before. The attendance was not taken sufficiently, and so we did have students roaming through the building because those things were not done properly. So,
not to avoid your question, but to come at it from a different angle, because I can't answer that question. However, we do have student engagement specialists now that are part of this solution.
So I can answer that. So that's part of the conversation of making sure that daily attendance is taken as part of the class. And what we're trying to do is move away from the paper or a log sheet that teachers would have to currently have to do. And with this new system, all a student has to do is actually swipe their badge on a kiosk in the classroom. So it avoids, you know, it helps in instructional time, it's easier, and it's accurate. And so that will also help in making sure classroom attendance is being taken consistently and throughout our buildings.
So that's future-wise, but as of today,
So
how are we making sure our students are coming to class, and how are we making sure that our teachers are taking the attendance? I think that's really good. It's very innovative. Our students can come in, they can tap in, but right now we have a problem today. So what are we doing to make sure that the attendance is taken and that we don't have students roaming through the hallway? I just want to clarify that.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I recently met with Dr. Brooks and showed her how to confirm when attendance is being taken in Power School at a daily at the class level. And so she's able to look at reports, who's taking attendance and who hasn't, so she can address on a teacher-by-teacher basis.
Okay, good. That answers the question.
But I think the question you're asking, Madam Chair, is what are we doing with the students who probably will check in and then leave and then don't come back, right? And
I didn't ask that question, but yeah, that'll be part two. Thank you.
So one of the things, as you heard from the team introduced, is the student engagement specialist, which, you know, back in the day, we'll call them hall monitors. And so part of the work of the student engagement specialist is to be in the hallways, guiding students with security as well as the administration back into classrooms. Students are required to have passes to go to, let's say they want to go to guidance, they want to go to the health center, they want to go to the front office. There are procedures that we have in place to making sure, you know, if a student is not where they're supposed to be, there's an adult moving around the building to ask them or guide them to where they're supposed to be.
Can I just ask something really quick? So I use Power School on a daily basis. What I really think that I like about this is sometimes as a teacher, I take my attendance every day when the kids come in, but sometimes it would be nice to know if the kid is in the building, because you as the teacher, you can see that they're not in the class, but is it a class cut? Are they somewhere else in the building? Where if I see that they were to log in the morning, I could say, okay, I know they came to school, now let me try to figure out where they are. And then I could call someone to say, hey, can you see if so-and-so is roaming around the building? They're, you know, a person who tends to do that. So I kind of like how that is set up, because as a teacher, you only see what's in front of you. So it's kind of like an extra layer to give the teacher a little more knowledge on if that person came to school and where they were in the other classes, because you can only see so much. So I don't know, that's kind of cool.
That's a great point, because that actually surfaced from the team. And so sometimes, students will go to the health center and the teacher is not aware. And so this system would actually give them real-time data of where the student is in the building. And instead of marking them absent, they know that they are in the health center or seeing, their counselor or things of that sort. So it gives them real-time data. And so we start eliminating all of those errors of attendance taking. At the same time, one of the great features about this is also safety. It's instant data. It tells us who is in the building at any given time. And so principals and administrators, in the event there is a crisis or an evacuation or a drill, they have it on their device, whether it's a phone, a laptop, it's accessible instantly, as well as in the district level. We will be able to see real-time data as it's happening.
Oh, go ahead.
So if I'm a student who is inclined not to want to go to class, I'm probably a student who's going to be disinclined to want you to track my tendency to not go to class. So how are we guarding against those students who are going to not bring their card into school as a means of tracking them?
So we have that currently. There are students who forget their badges, and so they will still have to actually put in their student ID. And so there is an individual at each kiosk that actually punches their number in. And so they can quickly do that and get the kids' accurate attendance. This is not, it's important to mention this. There's still a humanistic component to attendance. And so while this is a support, a tool that's actually going to, one, address safety, attendance, engagement, there is still the human component of making sure that the staff still meets to look at the trends and the data. So when they meet weekly, like we mentioned, the data team should be looking at this data and saying, okay, Alberto is not going to, history class every single day. Let's case manage that and find out why they're not going to class. And so those are the conversations that are happening and continue and need to happen district-wide to making sure that we monitor attendance. But important is the case manager. It's why we introduced the manual to all school sites and the district data teams to have that consistency and expectation district-wide.
I have a question regarding who's responsible for managing the new app. Is that in addition to Power School, or does it interface and feed Power School?
So I'm going to ask Mike, because it is under the umbrella of the Power School.
Yeah, so it's actually an app. Power School has been on a buying spree. This is an app that they've purchased that they're now selling under their umbrella of applications. So it will integrate to get us going, and there's going to be further, deeper integrations with the system as any new product gets brought into with their Power School. But that's why part of why we looked at this one. I looked at a couple other ones and shared with the attendance team and said, this is the one that I think, but we need to look at as a team to really decide. And the integration with Power School was really what was key, and it's been a driving force besides some of our other choices as well, is one place for everything. We've had a lot of these disparate systems over the years, and uniformity makes things a lot easier in the long run.
And my second question is, I'm sure the answer is yes. Is there a social worker or a team of social workers? Because if we're identifying social emotional issues.
Yes, every school has a social worker, and we just added what?
Sorry, not
on the attendance team?
On the attendance
yes.
team. Okay.
The attendance team has a social worker or a school psychologist. They have an SEL interventionist, and for the schools who have SESs, student engagement specialists, they're on the attendance team as well, and the family engagement liaison.
And are we protecting information to the highest standard, because some of the social emotional problems can be compromised beyond FERPA?
Oh, yes. Confidentiality is key.
Any other questions from the board?
Madam Chair?
Oh, okay, Deborah Gus.
Just trying to understand, and maybe I missed this from the counseling, but the student engagement specialists, those are people that are already in place, but they're getting additional training within this group and... Yeah.
Yes, additional professional development. We'll be diving deeper into attendance and SEL strategies as well with our student engagement specialist.
Okay, and so, these aren't new positions, these aren't open positions, these
No.
are people already currently in place?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
They're new this year, but they're not vacant. We have people at the high school and the middle school level.
Okay, Justin.
So there are many districts that will have policies in place that deny students academic credit for being chronically absent. We are not currently one of those districts. So has the attendance team had discussions about whether or not we should consider policies like that? Have you studied the impact of those policies in other districts? And if so, what have you found?
So, it depends on the philosophical thought process of the individual and the team. And so at the end of the day, my philosophy is attendance needs to be treated separately from grades, right? Because like you heard, excused or unexcused is counted on chronic absenteeism. And so in many situations, it can be because the students are homeless, and so they're not coming to school. In many situations is that there is an illness that is preventing them to come to school. So we would have to look at every case individually. And so some students should not be penalized for sometimes real life situations that they cannot control. And so separating the two is very important, and that should not impact grades. It's about finding the root causes of why they're not in school or why they're not engaged, and really starting to, eliminate those barriers and putting them back on track.
I just want to provide a real-world example for what Dr. V just said. I was a truant student in high school. I was chronically absent and truant, and I absolutely 100%, yes. And I went on to, just to pat my own self on my back, I went on to become a Fulbright scholar, but if I had been penalized for the number of days that I had missed school, I most certainly would have not finished high school, because I would just be like, y'all don't care about me, goodbye. So again, it's just, the solutions come from a myriad of different ways, and to penalize a student for not separating attendance from grades will be harmful.
I think if I just might add, so yes, I hear both of those positions. I also think that in districts that are currently doing this, it's almost never the case that it is a definitive withdrawal of credit, but rather a conversation and a meeting, and part of that is a consideration of what were your underlying causes for absences, and if it were in fact like homelessness, that is treated very differently than the student who is in school and just opts not to attend class. So just something for the team to consider, and something that I think the policy committee would be interested in taking up if that's something you decide to bring forward.
Can I?
Oh, go ahead. I thought it was.
We could probably go back and forth all night, Justin. I was a truant student.
Me too.
But I think my question is for the policy committee. Now that we've heard this, and of course you're talking about policy, but do we have every policy necessary to support both sides, every philosophy or whatever, so we don't find ourselves in any sort of compromising situations? And is it worthwhile to define our policy as a district so that we don't get into gray conversations? Because if I'm absent and I'm pro-truancy, or just for lack of better terms, and a decision has to be made about a student, I think we find ourselves in a compromising situation as a district.
Can I just have one comment?
Well, is somebody going to answer the question? Was that a question or was that a comment?
It was a question. We probably do
like
not have, I don't go to policy enough to know if we have every policy that we potentially need, but is this a worthwhile agenda item to add so we can look at all possible situations and stay ahead of the game so we're never functioning out of crisis?
So when it comes to attendance, in the state of Connecticut, the state statute really guides the policy, right? And so the state has its rules around defining attendance, the criteria of chronic absenteeism, truancy, and so forth. So that is, every public school district has to follow that. I think what's worth pursuing is the regulations, is where I think the policy committee and with the district attendance team can really start honing in on guiding our procedures and give us the flexibilities or a new way of work of addressing these cases. So I think, I appreciate that feedback from the board, because I think that, we can add that to our action items and bring it forward to the board or the policy committee.
I just have one comment. So as you put this in place, How often will you be providing that information to the board as far as absenteeism? And I think because it is an issue at this time, how often would you advise the board? Because I think we look at it every 6 months or so. Is it something that we could look at monthly, quarterly, more frequently?
So that's a great question. I mean, I am open to bringing this forward, quarterly, so that you're aware the district attendance team meets a minimum monthly, and we go over, procedures, all this stuff. But we also deal with the cases that schools are struggling with, and it comes to my attention and to the team's attention. And so, if it's the board's desire, we can come and always give a update of our attendance and our attendance campaign on a quarterly basis. So every marking period.
What do you guys think about that? Or
I think that's
every other
reasonable.
month?
I think
Because
quarterly, right?
so-
You need quarters to sort of really assess trends and things like that. If you look at it monthly, you might be having a redundant conversation. You think? My
Okay,
opinion.
I'm just giving options. I'm just curious to hear what you want to say. I just think, so we start school in August, then that means we may look at it, November, December?
No, it would be at the end of the year, June.
That's too late. I mean, for this year, okay. But I mean, like, starting next year, when we start school in August, your first report would be what?
So first quarter ends, I don't have the calendar in front of me, but
November, December?
October. October. Yeah. Right.
So the start is October.
Right. That's our census date, is when we report to the state, our final number of enrollment is October. So there'll be, in other words, there can be a lot of movement of student enrollment in between August, September. October is the date we report our final number of enrollment. So I think,
November, December?
yes, November.
Okay, so quarterly sounds like it'll work. Okay, so the next report that you'll give to us would be June. Okay. That'll work. Any other questions, any other comments in regards to?
I guess I just have a question/comment.
Okay, Dina.
I think it would be interesting to see, of the kids who are considered truant, how many of them are passing the course. Because, like, just thinking in my head, like, I've had people who are considered chronically absent according to that for various reasons, surgeries, different things happen, but still do really well in the course because they're keeping up with their work online and kind of doing things on their own, making sure they're staying on track, versus, say, the kid who's just cutting class, who's probably also not passing, right? It would just be interesting to see, of that group, how many are still maintaining a good grade, I guess. I don't know.
And I'll add to that. And then what is the game plan for those who are chronically absent and not passing?
Right.
Because those are the students that make up the academic achievement gap, I guarantee. So if we work on those two together, we could try to fix some things here.
Madam Chair, and I just want to add to your point, it may also demonstrate like what we're hearing behaviorally, like where some of those challenges are. So then we can really tease out and strategize on what to support as
So behavioral and
academic,
and academic-wise. So it's a lot in the equation, but you guys are up for the challenge, I know.
Started off with math. We good.
All right, any questions? Any more piggybacks? Okay, good. All right, so thank you all for your presentation. A round of applause. Thank you. All right, and we are going to move through the committee reports quite swiftly. Charles Wiltsey is out for this evening. He's excused. Curriculum Committee will not have a report tonight. They are meeting next Thursday. Facilities, I don't have much to say. We met last month and we discussed the 5-year facilities plan. Mr. Kevin is here tonight. He will go through the detail of it. And so we will have an action item to approve the 5-year plan. And so one thing about the plan, it is it's a moving target. Sometimes things change. So, but this is just to say, as of today, these are the issues we have with our facilities. And if the budget aligns, these are the things that we would like to fix. So that's all I have for facilities. We have a meeting next Wednesday. And I do believe that it will be at Billfield on the 12th. We'll have a short tour and we'll go from there. All right, that's all I have. Any questions for facilities? Policy, Justin Taylor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Policy Committee met on Monday, March 27th at 5 p.m. We discussed 6 or 7 policies. Most of those have come before the board this evening. And the action items, 3 were tabled, so I'll just briefly share the 3 that were tabled in that meeting. The first was a policy on grading and changing grades. That policy is not mandatory. The attorney recommended that we repeal it. It has been tabled because there were some lingering questions or comments that were left by the attorney in the document that we were looking at that we wanted some additional clarification on before determining whether or not to repeal the policy. The next policy that was tabled was on live animals in school. Again, there were some questions with regard to service animals, and we wanted some clarification from the attorney, so we sent that policy back. And then the third policy that was tabled was on naming facilities. There were some questions concerning the city charter and the role of Common Council in naming facilities, so we sent that policy back as well. Our next Policy Committee meeting is on Tuesday, April 18th at 5:30 p.m. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Justin. Any comments, any questions? Okay. Seeing that there are none, we are going to move down to the action item. Mr. Mel, while you're coming up, just if there's no objectives, I just have to make one correction here in the action item. Item D will move to C, and we will move the 5-year facilities plan to be item D, so that he could do A through C together. Any objections? Okay, great. Mr. Mel, you have the floor.
Thank you, and good evening, everyone. Each year, the Connecticut State Department of Education requires school food authorities and the boards of education to vote on the district's participation in the Healthy Food Certification Standards. The Healthy Food Certification Standards are a set of regulations set by the Connecticut State Department of Education that ensure school districts are serving only state-approved food items to students during the school day or at any time that a child nutrition program, including dinner and or after-school snack, is in operation. The Healthy Food Certification Agreement regulates all food-related celebrations in schools for students, food-based fundraisers, school meals, snacks sold at schools, student-accessible vending machines, and food available at school stores specifically for students. The vote of the Board of Education each year on the below motions are directly related to significant additional reimbursement that the Food and Nutrition Department receives from the Connecticut State Department of Education to support child nutrition programs here in Middletown Public Schools. The following 3 statements that the Board of Education will have to make a motion to move forward with and must follow in this order for each separate statement. Number 1, the statement read for the public, which I will do, a motion to approve or deny, a second to the motion, a vote following the motion as it is read. So I will read the motions and the required votes, and then I will turn over to the board for after each one. So number 1, required vote for participation in healthy food options of the Healthy Food Certification. This vote is required for all boards of education that participate in the National School Lunch Program. Each board of education must vote yes or no to participate in healthy food options of section 10.215F and follow the Connecticut Nutrition Standards. The motion and BOE approved meeting minutes must include the exact motion language as below. Pursuant to CGS Section 10-215F, the Middletown Board of Education certifies that all food items offered for sale to students in school under its jurisdiction and not exempted from the Connecticut nutrition standards published by the Connecticut State Department of Education will comply with the Connecticut nutrition standards during the period of July 1, 2023 through June 30th, 2024. The certification shall include all food offered for sale to students separately from reimbursable meals at all time and from all sources, including but not limited to school stores, vending machines, school cafeteria, culinary programs, and any fundraising activities on school premises sponsored by the school or non-school organizations and groups. That is the conclusion of the first motion.
All right. Motion pursuant to CGS Section 10-215F, the Middletown Board of Education certifies that all food items offered for sale to students in the school under its jurisdiction and not exempted from the Connecticut nutrition standards published by the Connecticut State Department of Education will comply with the Connecticut nutrition standards during the period of July 1, 2023 through June 30th, 2024. This certification shall include all food offered for sale to students separately from reimbursable meals at all times and from all sources, including but not limited to school stores, vending machines, school cafeterias, culinary programs, and any funding activities on school premises sponsored by the school or non-school organization and groups. Is there a second? Okay, second by Anita Dempsey White, and then we'll vote by roll call. Deborah Kane, yes. Anita Dempsey White? Yes. Ms. Ford?
Yes.
Deborah Gus?
Yes.
Delita Rose Daniel?
Yes.
Justin Taylor?
Yes.
Okay. The yeses have it. That one is passed. Okay.
Okay. Vote number 2, required vote for food exemptions for Board of Education's choosing healthy food option of the healthy food certification. This vote is required for all boards of educations that vote yes to participate in the healthy food option. The motion and Board of Education approved meeting minutes must reflect a yes or a no vote to allow food exemptions using this exact motion language below.
Okay. Motion that are there any questions? Okay. Motion that the Middletown Board of Education will allow the sale to students of food items that do not meet the Connecticut nutrition standards, provided that the following conditions are met. 1, the sale is connection with an event occurring after the end of the regular school day or on the weekend. 2, the sale is at the location of the event. And 3, the food items are not sold from a vending machine or school store. An event is an occurrence that involves more than just a regularly scheduled practice, meeting, or extracurricular activity. For example, soccer games, soccer plays, the interscholastic debates are events, but soccer practices, play rehearsals, and debate team meetings are not. The regular school day is the period from midnight before to 30 minutes after the end of the official school day. Location means where the event is being held and must be the same place as the food sales. Is there a second?
Second, Delita.
Second by Delita Rose Daniels. Are there any questions? Okay, we will go into vote. Deborah Kane, yes. Anita Dempsey White? Ms. Ford?
Yes.
Deborah Gus?
Yes.
Delita Rose Daniels?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Okay, this has been approved. Next item.
Okay, and the final item is vote number 3, the optional vote for beverage exemptions for all boards of education. If the Board of Education chooses to allow beverage exemptions, the Board of Education motion must include the exact motion language below.
Okay. All right, are there any questions about this? Okay. The Middletown motion that the Middletown Board of Education will allow the sale to students of beverages not listed in Section 10-221Q of the Connecticut General Statute, provided that the following conditions are met. 1, the sale is in the connection with an event occurring after the end of the regular school day or the weekend. 2, the sale is at the location of the event. 3, the beverages are not sold from a vending machine or school store. An event is an occurrence that involves more than just a regularly scheduled practice, meeting, or extracurricular activity. The school day is the period from midnight before to 30 minutes after the end of the official school day. Location means where the event is being held and must be the same place as the beverage sales. Is there a second? Okay, second by Anita Dempsey White. Any questions? Okay, and your vote by saying yes or no. Deborah Kane, yes. Anita Dempsey White. Yes. Ms. Ford.
Yes.
Deborah Guess.
Yes.
Delita Rose Daniels.
Yes.
Mr. Taylor.
Yes.
Okay, that has been approved as well. Thank you. Okay, and at this time, I will call up Mr. Kevin Dion for our 5-year facilities plan. Let's give it up to Mr. Dion. He looks rather debonair tonight.
Thank you. I didn't have any weddings to go to this year, so I dusted off the suit. Hope you don't mind. You were provided with the 5-year capital plan, and I just want to have a quick overview of why and how these come about. Capital plans are a tough thing to plan for. What we figure is going to happen just this year can drastically change, let alone 5 years. And when you talk, I think you may have seen me speak at some of the budget meetings, with the age of our buildings, critical infrastructure could fail. So we go through these plans, we go through each building. They take time to create. I've been here a little over a year, and I finally feel that I have an understanding of the way our buildings, so it takes a full year to really understand where our buildings currently are and where we feel they're going to be going. What goes into this and how it's prioritized is really safety and security is always first. So when we look at what's needed in the building, safety and security is most important. Then actually the impact to operations. So if this piece of infrastructure fails, what will that do to having school or being able to actually learn in that environment? After that is the age, then the usage. Lead time to replace has become critical. We've seen that with COVID and supply chain disruptions. So what we put on here and what I put on here, sometimes we're looking at 24 months just to get some of our air conditioning units, and we have to make some concessions on some of the models and the sizes that we want. The complexity to replace, a lot of times when we put buildings and we build buildings, we actually build in rooftop units, sometimes get built right into penthouses, which means we have to remove walls or parts of roofs just to replace coils and other items. Then there's the cost. The cost is always critical. You want to plan for the larger cost items, and you want to start talking about those items early and often. And then there's the grant and the reimbursement. Both you can have state as well as other grants, and those take time to apply for, as well as understanding what's going to be our obligation as well as the state. So unfortunately, the capital plan is not going to be put up, but you do have it in your packets. Did you receive those? It should be in, do you want me to email it? I thought it was sent to you. I can just share it with you. You should have it. Can you put up the broken by? I apologize for that. Not sure. I'm not sure if you can see the one down here. It's a little with the jump in. So this one was broken down. These are the projects for the year. You may have seen the budget discussions for what we were looking at for total capital projects for the 23-24 year. We did do what was critical. We brought that was around 1.4 million that we were asking for, that we really need critical operations for the year. But we are looking at about 3.6 for 23-24 year, 3.161 actually. I'm sorry. So at Bealfield, there's a lot of carpet replacements. Farm Hill, one thing we like to do is make sure that we get our floors that age out over time. We want to make sure that we get indoor air quality. So we've been replacing a lot of these with LVT. This is a hard surface, making sure our ductworks get cleaned. We have boilers. Farm Hill, we have boilers that are aging out. McDonough, though it is discussion of replacing as a new school, the boilers are aging out. And that's where some of these discussions become more critical as far as having a new building, and we have to still keep it heated throughout the season. So if that's a couple of years away, boiler replacements become critical, and at 220,000, some hard decisions have to be made to make sure that we can keep the building heated. Leaking windows, we do have an issue with Moody where we have leaking windows, water coming in. We'd like to get that repaired. There was a 2019 quote we'd like to proceed with, and that's estimated with current inflation costs at $78,000. The oil tanks, the yellow, what you see there is state-funded projects. So those are the oil tank projects, and though we are waiting for the certified minutes, we hope to get those applications in the next month or so. We are waiting on Common Council minutes certified. Sidewalk repairs, we continue to do a lot of critical. We want to make sure, again, safety and security, trips and falls. As our concrete ages, we want to make sure that everything is safe to walk on for all seasons, not just winter. Lighting is required. We do have some roof repairs, some concerns at Spencer. Spencer's another school. As it's aging out, the soffit is becoming so soft and worn that actually some of the birds have started to put holes and try to build nests inside. So it's a constant battle. We're looking to get the soffits replaced, as well as the lightning rods and some of the gutters that are actually built into the roof line, which complicates the simple gutter replacement, requires us to peel back part of the roof. And those are the complexities that you come upon when you look at a building that was built and that was someone's design to build it right in, the gutters right into the roof. Makes replacement complicated. You want to keep scrolling down. Again, you can look at it. We'll make sure that you get a copy of this. I thought it was in your packet. Carpet replacements continue. Air conditioning. So modern buildings are built with air conditioning and larger rooftop units, but in the older buildings that don't have ductwork, we use a lot of what we call the split units. That's what people see in their homes. You can get different sizes, different tonnage. You can get larger ones for classrooms, but those only service 3 to 4 classrooms or one large open room. But where you can't get ductwork or you have an older building, it is a viable option, and it is something as we have warmer summers that we have to start thinking about areas that we can cool down for students to go to. So you'll see a lot of install AC in classrooms, and you'll see the price tag of $72,000, but that is really just for one unit that would only service a couple of classrooms. To do an entire building, we've had discussions, and the numbers are usually in the millions, which include ductwork and more rooftop units. There is landscaping work on there, tree repair. We have safety issues, trees that we want to trim. Though those are normally covered in our operational budget, they are listed here for next year because there's a synergy, and the city has a tree warden, and they do have contracts, and they help us again with asphalt. So those are on there so that hopefully we can work together to get those projects and keep the trees and everything safe on the landscaping, and work closer with the city. I keep going down. You'll see more concrete work. Those paint projects that you see, those are not normal paint. That's large painting projects of entire gymnasiums, auditoriums, well beyond the scope of our painter in our district. We have one painter that maintains all the square footage for the district. So those projects are listed in there. They aren't normally listed as capital, but because of the magnitude and the size, they were added into that. PA systems continue to be one of the things we need upgraded. We want to make sure we communicate both for stadium and athletic events, but as well as just in the school itself for safety, for classroom and communication. The baseball fields continue to need repairs. We have irrigation systems, so we need to make sure that we're maintaining the fields that we have at the high school. So you'll see the $40,000 for replacement and increase in replacement of the lighting and irrigation systems there. And our parking lots. Our parking lots in a lot of our buildings are starting to age out, or at least show signs of wear. So we will need to do some pothole repair, crack repair, as well as putting in new lines, making sure everyone knows where to park. The high school, I spoke about that at the budget meeting. The pool heater, the pool deck, we should be proud of the pool that we have, but there is an operating cost to have a pool, and we really need to get serious to make sure that we can maintain that. That pool heater, currently what heats the pool is the system, and I won't get too detailed, that comes off the fuel cell into the boiler, and it's a long loop, and we lose a lot of energy and efficiency. By putting a dedicated boiler over by the pool, we'd be able to control the temperature. We'd have greater control over it, as well as minimize heat loss and energy, make sure we have energy efficiency increases. Kegwin, should Kegwin come back online, there are some things such as the cafeteria. We would need to replace some flooring there. We are doing some minor repairs, but overall, we're estimating $30,000 to $40,000 to replace this. I'm sorry that my spreadsheet's causing such disarray to the camera. Okay. So that, you can see at the bottom, 3667 is the estimation for the 23-24 year. We can go off here, and I can go through the other years. The most critical year is 23-24, because that's really what's imminent. That's what we're seeing for failures and things that need to get done. When you go into the 24-25, you'll start to see some more tanks that need replacement. You'll start seeing roofs that need replacement. And roofs have to be thought out at least a year in advance. Applications have to be made to the state. They are large projects, and the state requires PCR, and we need to have an architect on board to make sure that we're designing a roof and we're meeting the needs of the state, as well as if any rooftop units need to be replaced, or should a solar panel be added onto that, they want to know that that's all being done at the same time with an average 20-year lifespan for roofs and rooftop units. So they like all the work done at the same time. So we can't just start thinking about a roof without thinking about a lot of other items. So you'll see that some larger ticket items are all put into when there's a roof replacement. Air conditioning systems for the following years continue to be something we install. We will be in Farm Hill installing AC in the cafeteria as well as additional classrooms. Bealfield, more additional AC into some of the classrooms. A lot of our schools have partial air conditioning at the moment. It'd be nice to continue to get more air conditioning throughout the buildings, especially where learning is occurring. Sprinkler systems, one of the larger items you'll see in 26-27 should Spencer. We do need sprinkler systems and other fire suppression systems that would need to be installed to keep those buildings operational and safe. A lot of it is what we've already talked about. We expect sidewalks, Farm Hill, more sidewalk and masonry repair. More AC continues into the 27-28. And that number, and the items are much smaller in 27-28, which is really at the end of the 5-year. And we expect things that don't get done in 23-24 that might get pushed to 24-25. And then it starts a domino effect. Because at the end of the day, these are great things that we want to get done, but lead times, supply chains are out of our control. So hopefully with the budget coming through, we know where we stand and we can start preparing, bringing on project managers from some of our vendors to make sure that we're getting our equipment and our labor lined up and get these repairs done.
Okay, board members, you've all heard the 5-year capital plan by Mr. Dion. Do we have any questions in regards to the 5-year capital plan?
Madam Chair, I have a question.
Okay, go ahead, Delita.
The new school discussion has been a conversation that has come and gone. Where do we stand with that? Having those conversations and really getting to a place of making a decision on what the plan is for the district. I think that's critical to know.
You want to answer?
So we continue to have discussions, very good discussions with the mayor. I think everybody wants to proceed. It's just how we proceed, when we proceed. That's a priority project. So that would require us to put an application. You only get to apply once a year. I've mentioned that in the past. So it's not just the board making the decision, it's as well as the city and the common council. We continue to meet monthly with the mayor, and we have some very positive conversations, and we hope to get those projects. Moving forward, it's not just one school, though. It's looking at the entire district as we look at our enrollment numbers, and we look at where we're going, where we want to be, what parts of town are growing and what are decreasing. So there's a lot more that goes into it, and that's why the city is critical, as well as the state, in having those conversations. It is not forgotten, it is just a very long process.
Any additional questions? Okay. All right, I'd like to make a motion to accept the 5-year capital plan. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Taylor. Any questions? All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposes? Seeing that there are none, the motion is carried. Thank you, Mr. Dion. All right, the next item on the agenda is E, and we'll start going through 4 of the policies. I'll turn the floor over to Justin Taylor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Action item E is the proposed revision of policy number 5131.111, video surveillance. This policy came before the committee. It was reviewed by the attorney, who noted that the policy is not mandatory. The attorney recommended repeal or legal review. The administration proposed a legal review, and based on that review, the policy committee had no questions. So I recommend that I move that we revise policy number 5131.11 as a first reading.
Second, Deborah Gus.
Second by Deborah Gus. Any questions? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposes? Seeing that there are none, the motion is carried. Action item F.
Action item F is the proposed revision of policy number 6145.6, the travel and exchange student policy. This policy was reviewed by the attorney. It is also not mandatory and was recommended for repeal or legal review. The administration decided to pursue legal review, and based on the legal review, there were no questions by the committee, so I recommend that we revise policy number 6145.6 as a first reading.
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Ford. Any questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposes? Seeing that there are none, the motion is carried. Action item G.
Action item G is the proposed revision of policy number 7230.3, the policy on acoustics. The attorney reviewed the policy, noted that it was not mandatory, and recommended repeal or legal review. The administration chose to pursue legal review. Based on that review, there were no questions from the committee, so I move that we revise policy number 7230.3 as a first reading.
Second.
Hold on one second. Acoustics, that one is not in our packet.
Yeah, so that one I believe should have come before the board, I think, in a previous meeting perhaps, and that might be the reason why it's not in the packet.
Could we table that one until our next board meeting?
We could, yeah, it's a very brief policy, but we can table it,
Okay.
absolutely.
So I'm just going to make a motion that we table action item G, revise acoustics, to our next board meeting. Is there a second?
Second, Deborah Gus.
Second by Deborah Gus. Any questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposes? Seeing that there are none, we will table action item G until our next board meeting. Action item H.
Action item H is the proposed revision of policy number 7211, architect selection. Again, this policy came before the committee after legal review. It is not a mandatory policy. The administration chose, however, to keep the policy, and after legal review, there were no questions from the committee, so I move that we revise policy number 7211 as a first reading.
Second. Any questions?
I just had a question. There was a policy 7230 that was included in my packet on design and process.
That's the acoustics policy.
Is that?
It's just the wrong name.
That's what I'm wondering.
7230?
Yeah, in our packet, we have a design and process, that's number 7230. On the agenda,
It says acoustics, but on your paper.
well, I don't know, because it says
Yeah,
7230.
Wasn't this part of the second reading? Design and process?
This one, let me take a look.
Yes, it is. It's in there. So I think it was just.
So this might have been like
out of order.
consent agenda?
It's in the consent agenda.
Yeah.
Right, I thought
Yeah.
so. Yeah, so it's just in the
Well-
wrong place.
Yep.
Yeah, all right. Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposes? Seeing that there are none, the motion is carried. For our May board meeting, do we have any suggestion for a future agenda item? If you don't have anything now, please feel free to email me or contact me before our May meeting. I'll be glad to put it on there.
I have,
Go ahead.
I know that we don't, I don't know how to formulate it, but I know we don't respond to public comment, but can we address some of the things that have been raised around tonight's meeting and February's meeting, I think it'd be worthwhile to somehow tailor some sort of response through a presentation.
Yes.
About outcomes, intentions, and things of that nature.
I agree. We met with Beaman Middle yesterday, and I asked Dr. Vasquez Matos to put together some type of task force to address, bless you, some of the issues. So Dr. V, along with some other teachers and staff, will be working together on a task force to address those issues. But I think that is something that should go under the superintendent's report for the next month. I agree.
Just to kind of piggyback off that, I thought that we were also going to have a panel or something, I don't know what we want to call it, with students who are part of like the chronic absenteeism or OSS, ISS type group that we wanted to like have some sort of panel where we could talk to them.
The board, during our board meeting or separate?
Like separate?
Okay.
Like, is there any, could we see if there has been any progress with that or?
Let us look into that. Okay. I'll send an email.
I was going to say, can I just, I don't know if we're talking about the same thing. I know in the February meeting, we talked about getting student feedback from a student perspective. It wasn't necessarily tailored around ISS, OSS, or chronic absenteeism from my perspective, but as you think about that, I think we were talking more along the lines of getting similar type feedback from a student perspective about their experience, primarily in the middle and high school.
And not cherry-picked.
And not a cherry-picked group of individuals. Justin chaired that meeting, and it came up in February. So I just wanted to clarify.
We do have a survey that's for the teachers and the students, and we received the results in June, right? That's right. So we'll receive the results in June for that. So they will take a survey. So we'll see that in June. We'll get the teachers, we're going to talk about both of them at the same meeting?
Right, parents, teachers, and
Parents,
students.
teachers, and students in June. All right. All right, thank you. So we'll keep those in mind. So real quick, board members, we have to go into executive session. So we're going to dismiss this meeting for tonight. Thank you all who were able to attend. And I'm just going to make a motion that we go into executive session, pending litigation, Macri versus City of Middletown Board of Education, docket number 322 CV 00754, and invite Dr. Vasquez Matos and Attorney Michael Rose. Is there a second? Second by Anita Dempsey White. And all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposes? Seeing that there are none, the motion is carried. We'll go into executive session. Have a good night, everyone. Okay, the time is now 9:10 p.m. Motion to adjourn?
So moved, Deborah Gus.
Okay, moved. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposes? Seeing that there are none, the motion is approved. The meeting is adjourned. The time is now 9:10 p.m. Thank you. Have a good night.